Hello everybody and welcome back to the Blossom Review. How are you? Today we're talking about Netflix's Melo Movie, which came out on Valentine's Day, so February the 14th. Personally, did I love it? Not really, but there were several things that I really enjoyed about it. But today, this video is not about reviewing the show per se. Now, if you want our complete review or a complete analysis of the script of the characters in Melo Movie, I will recommend reading our article on the Blossom Review. I'll leave a link in the description for you. Make sure to stop by. But this video is more of an opinion video. This is more of a discussion, let's say. While watching Melo Movie, I realized that Melo Movie is actually the perfect example of the Netflix effect, the Netflix influence on filmmaking, on drama making. So I wanted to create this video to ask you if you noticed these things and what you thought about them. Because once I started noticing it while watching the show, I just couldn't stop. I just couldn't unnotice it, let's say. So I want to hear from you. So this video is a bit of a discussion. I'm gonna first give you a quick review of the show, spoiler free, so don't worry if you haven't watched the show. And then we're gonna talk about this Netflix thing. And then I want to hear from you. Make sure to leave a comment and tell me your opinion about it. Okay, shall we start? All right, let's go. If you don't know anything about the series, Melo Movie tells the story of Ko-gyum, played by Choi Woo-shik, a movie buff who wanted to become an actor. He crosses paths with Kim Moo-bi, played by Park Bo-young, a young woman working in the film industry. Moo-bi has this love-hate relationship with cinema because of a complicated relationship with her father, who died quite young, trying to become a film director. Meanwhile, Melo Movie also follows the story of Hong Si-jung, played by Lee Jung-young, who is an aspiring musician whose ex-girlfriend, Song Ju-ah, played by Jeon So-ne, is a screenwriter. So Melo Movie follows these four young people as they embark on a journey of self-discovery and romance as they chase their dreams. So that's the story, that's the premise of Melo Movie. Melo Movie can entertain romantic drama enthusiasts thanks to a very, very charming cast and a non-linear narrative that serves to mask the weaknesses of the script. So featuring a slow-paced drama that touches on very important themes such as loneliness, grief, and trauma, Melo Movie offers a bittersweet tale that feels a little bit lifeless at times. But it does offer a few extremely cathartic, extremely sentimental moments that keep its target audience engaged. Now here I would like to make a quick comment that in Korea, Melo is intrinsically connected to romance. So when they use the word Melo, they are referring to something that we consider to be a romantic drama. So usually Melo is a romance that is not extremely comical, so it's not a rom-com. It offers more dramatic, intense scenes. Meanwhile, in English, melodrama is a subgenre of drama that sensationalizes characters and events in order to evoke very intense emotions from its audiences. So melodramas in English usually feature a group of stereotypical characters facing extreme conflicts just to evoke this intense emotion, okay? Now, so there is a very big difference between the two of them, and I think this is an important distinction to make. If you want to learn more about melodrama, I will leave a link in the description to a Studio Binder article that I really like, so you can read more about it. Now, going back to Melo Movie is not a traditional melodrama as we understand melodrama in English. Melo Movie is a romantic dramedy. It features realistic characters facing realistic problems. And it offers comic moments, but it mostly develops a dramatic story based on familial and romantic relationships. Strangely enough, for a romantic drama or romantic dramedy, the dynamic that truly engages in Melo Movie is the dynamic between Gyeong and his brother Jung, flawlessly played by Kim Jae-wook. The relationship between Gyeong and Jung is easily the most complex one in the show, and their interactions show a bond with several different layers: love, concern, sorrow, fear, hope, care, respect. It's just fascinating to watch them together. I think that this is something that you don't really see in the other relationships in the show. You see that the other relationships in Melo Movie are very one-dimensional, while the relationship between Gyeong and Jung is very well-rounded, which makes for such a wonderful watch. I think with the other characters, we feel like it seems that we only reach the surface of their struggles, but Jung is the one character in the show that has real depth. And I feel that Jung is the real star of Melo Movie, that's for sure. Now, Melo Movie was directed by Oh Chong-hwan, who also directed TVN's Startup and Castaway Diva, for example. To be honest, he's one of my favorite directors ever. I love his work, so expect me to be a little bit biased here. I think the direction in Melo Movie is excellent. The colors, the cinematography. I love that he plays around with aspect ratio a little bit, I think because of this cinematic theme that runs through the entire show. A lot of leading lines, one-point perspective compositions that are just stunning. The production design is amazing. The production design is perfect, it really is. And very nostalgic if you were born in the 90s. So it's just fantastic. I think the soundtrack is lovely. It features some very melodic, very sweet, a bit melancholic songs, which I think go well with the show. The cast is also fantastic. They do so well. They do their very, very best. And well, they are just wonderful. It's a wonderful cast. However, the real problem with, if you can call it problem, the real problem with Melo Movie is that it counts on a wordy script with an excessive amount of narration and explanatory dialogue. Then the show ends up establishing this universe that lacks energy because it's a lot of people talking all the time, but without things actually happening. And the tone feels a little bit inconsistent at times. It goes from overly dramatic to overtly silly, and you don't really know why. So despite offering some very important themes, I think that they are all explored very superficially. And the narrative itself relies on a lot of coincidences, and the characters often lack solid motivation. So the motives are a bit unclear behind their actions. So maybe if the show hadn't spent so much time with narration, maybe we could have developed the characters and the themes of the show with a bit more depth. Now, I know that Melo Movie follows the style of Our Beloved Summer because, of course, the two shows were written by the same writer. But I feel that Melo Movie is a lot more explanatory. It's a lot more, like, let's say, wordy. And I think it's because of Netflix. Now, I want to explain to you why I think that. So this is a moment when I'm gonna start theorizing a little bit. And well, hear me out and then tell me in the comments what you think about this, okay? So this is not just me saying it, okay? Journalist Will Tavlin wrote a fantastic essay for N+1 magazine called Casual Viewing. In it, he discusses how Netflix has become this media giant that is now influencing the very shape of cinema and television. So after noting the lower quality of a lot of Netflix original productions, he mentions, such slipshod filmmaking works for the streaming model since audiences at home are often barely paying attention. Several screenwriters who've worked for the streamer told me a common note from company executives is, have this character announce what they are doing so that viewers who have this program on in the background can follow along. One tag among Netflix's 36,000 microgenres offers a suitable name for this kind of drag: casual viewing. Usually reserved for breezy network sitcoms, reality television and nature documentaries, the category describes much of Netflix's film catalog, movies that go down best when you're not paying attention. Or as The Hollywood Reporter recently described Atlas, a 2024 sci-fi film starring Jennifer Lopez, another Netflix movie made to half watch while doing laundry, a high-gloss product that dissolves into air, Tide Pod Cinema. Now let's be fair, all shows and films contain a certain amount of descriptive explanatory dialogue. However, cinema and television are visual arts, and they reach their finest form when using images to convey information. So the greatest films and TV shows, they use visual information and also sharp, meaningful dialogue because, of course, you have the cinematic adage, show, don't tell, but you shouldn't take that to an extreme either. I think that dialogue is vital, especially for sound cinema. Dialogue is vital for a good story. But if you pay attention to Netflix productions, you notice that Netflix has resorted to an abundance of unnecessary dialogue. Now, applying that to Melo Movie is constantly narrated, almost as if it's an audiobook. Everything, and by everything I mean everything, is described and explained. We are spoon-fed the characters' feelings, struggles, goals, and backstories. And the amount of narration is just shocking. Once you start paying attention to it, you can't stop. To be very fair, the amount of narration does go down from the fourth episode onwards. But even then, you notice that the moments of silence are few and far between. Somebody is always talking. They talk to themselves, they talk to each other, and then there is narration. And then even the moments of silence that start quiet, you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a moment of silence here. Somebody starts narrating something, and you're like, why? Now, if you break down the dialogue in the show, you realize that Melo Movie is full of overly descriptive lines that don't really add anything of value to the story. So let me give you a couple of examples, okay? In episode 1, you have this scene.
짠! 이게 뭐게?
뭔데?
나 이거 등록했어. 시나리오 공모전.
시나리오? 글?
나도 이제 제대로 한번 해보려고. 너 보면서 나도 느끼는 게 많았거든.
그래?
Now, the objective of this scene, of course, was to introduce Jua's excitement towards her career, but most importantly, to show Shijun's indifference towards Jua's personal goals and desires, which later leads to their breakup, okay? But then you have a couple of lines there that you don't really need. You could have used visual information to convey the same idea even more effectively. So instead of that, they could have done this. Ta-da! Guess what this is? What? Are you sure you want to do this? Now, in the second option, you're not only eliminating meaningless dialogue, but you're also showing Jua's excitement and Shijun's indifference in a much clearer way to the audience. And once you start noticing these things in a show, you just can't stop. So for example, another scene that comes to mind is in episode 6, Mubi and Gyeong go for a ride, and at some point the car breaks down. And then Mubi says, "Did the car just stop here?" Yes, darling, as you can see, the car just stopped here. You don't need to describe the event, we can see it. Now, the character doesn't need to describe things, the character can react to things. So instead of saying, "Oh, did the car just stop here?" Because imagine, if somebody is scrolling on Instagram and not paying attention to that, if they hear, the car just stopped, did the car just stop here? The person's gonna look and say, the car broke down. But you don't need that. The character can react to it. So she could literally just say, "Oh my God, tell me you have insurance, right?" Or, "Oh God, when are we getting home tonight?" You know, but I don't know. It depends. Do you want to show annoyance? Do you want to show joy that they are just lost in the middle of nowhere? So the character can react, but the character shouldn't describe an event. So dialogue in Melo Movie is full of descriptions, explanations, and theatrical lines that may be sentimental, but feel a little bit unnatural at times and weirdly placed in the narrative. I mean, sometimes I would look at the characters and think, nobody's that poetic in real life. But okay, the theatrical lines, you know, there is an explanation. Maybe they wanted to use these theatrical lines because they were looking to use some melodramatic elements in the construction of the narrative, so that's fine. Either way, these lines or this excess of talking all the time, it doesn't help a narrative that doesn't have much of an energy. Melo Movie may be cute, but is often bland, it's flat. You have a main love story in which a guy has this crush on a girl and the girl ignores him all the time, and that's it. And I'm not gonna get into the problematics of this premise. I mean, if you felt uncomfortable because it's this guy, this guy being super persistent when the girl keeps telling him no, if that made you feel uncomfortable, absolutely understandable. I get it, 100%. But yeah, so it's a story that doesn't really have that much of an energy. And if you spend, and in this case, they did spend, if you spend a lot of time just blah, 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 at the end of the day, you're not going to create a bustling, energetic universe for those characters. Now, I wanted to mention something else that is more of my personal opinion. It's not really part of a review. I wanted to talk about the matter of filmmaking in Melo Movie. So, as we all know, the Korean film industry has been facing a crisis in the past few years. So, in September 2024, the Korea Times published an article entitled "Korean Commercial Film Industry Faces Investment Drought," which stated, "The number of commercial films scheduled for release in theaters next year and the year after is expected to drop significantly, raising concerns that the struggling Korean film industry may plunge deeper into crisis. The major investment and distribution companies are barely reviewing new projects. In my 25 years in the film industry, this is the first time that both planning and production have come to a complete halt," said an official from a film company. Earlier this year, the KOFIK, so the Korean Film Council, announced a brand new initiative that I think the goal of the initiative is to inject around 10 billion won into low and medium budget films. The idea is to encourage the production of more and more diverse stories. Now, guys, considering that all art represents, responds to, or rises up against its historical and socio-political context, because art always belongs to a context. a socio-political historical context. Considering the current context of the film industry, the Korean film industry, Melo Movie is not really the story you should be telling, or at least they shouldn't be telling it the way that they did. Why? At first, Melo Movie portrays films as a tool of discovery, of healing, of bonding, of self-expression. I think Guillaume's passion for cinema resonates with any of us who love films, and it's just beautiful to watch him. It's just beautiful to see how excited, how passionate he is about this whole thing. However, as the story progresses, movies become this unhealthy mask behind which Guillaume hides, which is what somehow hinders his development as a human being. So in the last episode, they come to the conclusion that movies are just fantasy and Guillaume needs to live his life now, as if watching films and living his life can't coexist, and that's ridiculous. That's why in the last episode, Guillaume decides to stop watching films altogether. He just gives up on everything. He doesn't want to be an actor anymore. He doesn't want to be a critic anymore. He doesn't care. So he stops watching films, and then here we come with the narration again. At the end, they say that apparently he told Mubi that King Mubi is the only movie in his life now. Give me a minute. Yeah, guys, I cringed. No. No. The premise of the show promises characters who are running after their dreams. Now, with this portrayal of cinema, then what are Guillaume and Mubi's dreams? Exactly. Because Guillaume gives the film industry up. So his dream isn't to be an actor or a critic. And then Mubi has always been different towards cinema. She's never dreamed of becoming a director. She does it because she's good at it and because it's a means through which she can pay her bills. So what exactly are their dreams? What do they want to do? So as both Guillaume and Mubi end up seeing filmmaking as any other skill without any important emotional or social role in our lives, Melo Movie seems to be saying that cinema isn't really needed. It's superfluous. It distracts us from reality. It distracts us from fully living our lives. Now, for a country with a film industry in crisis, this is definitely not what you should be saying. So I understand the idea of showing Guillaume, he's fully living his life now. Okay, and that's nice. But you could have said the same thing in a different way without just saying, yeah, cinema doesn't mean much. Because cinema, guys, cinema is important. Cinema plays a huge role culturally, emotionally, and socially. Cinema, cinema brings people together, and it's an exercise in empathy. So, well, I can stay here for another half an hour and tell you how important cinema is, but I don't think I need to. But yeah, so that broke my heart a little bit about Melo Movie. Now the question is, should you watch Melo Movie? I don't think I can answer that for you, to be honest. Stories are very subjective, and none of them resonate with everyone. Now, Melo Movie is not for everyone. Melo Movie is the kind of story that needs to be tested. It's not the kind of story that any K-drama fan will enjoy. It's funny because my mom loves K-dramas and she watches them all the time. She loves Our Beloved Summer, for example, but she watched 2 or 3 episodes of Melo Movie and said, no, I can't continue. So it's not a story that resonates with everyone. So my proposal to you is try it. Watch the first, if you are a romantic drama fan, watch the first episode or the first 2 episodes, and then if the characters, if you connect with the characters, then continue. I think that if you connect with the characters, you might engage with the non-linear structure, the non-linear narrative enough to not notice the weaknesses in the script. Because at the end, Melo Movie offers a loud and a quiet romance, more hopeful and more realistic perspectives, a quick commentary on loneliness and loss, and I think most importantly, an absolutely marvelous relationship between 2 brothers who, despite being emotionally broken, do their very best to help and support each other. And that's just wonderful to see. I think just for June, guys, this show is worth a watch. Now, if the characters don't resonate with you, then you might start paying attention to these little weaknesses, to the excess of narration, to this dialogue that sometimes doesn't make much sense or is meaningless, and that might ruin the experience for you. So if you just don't connect with the characters, just stop and watch something else. And that's fine. So Melo Movie is on Netflix. Make sure to leave a comment and let me know your idea of Melo Movie. What do you think about this whole Netflix situation? I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. So, quick reminder that for a more traditional review analysis of Melo Movie, you can go to the Blossom Review. I'll leave a link in the description. Make sure to stop by. And tomorrow we are talking about our favorite March releases. So there are a lot of interesting K-dramas coming out in March, and we'll be talking about them on the Blossom Review as well tomorrow. Well, I hope you like the video and I hope you subscribe so I can see you here next Thursday for another chat, another review. And well, I hope you take very good care of yourself. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so very much. Bye!